Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. I want more excuses to play Scrolls, so I'm gonna make videos. Maybe. We'll see. It depends how they're well received. You know how it goes with me. It's like, oh, I'm gonna make this series, and then suddenly realize, no, actually nobody wants to watch that. Well, crap, better abolish it. Anyway, I do want to play a little bit more Scrolls, so I thought I'd put another video together. Might do one every once in a while. Interesting update, by the way. Those of you who are just thinking about getting into it, they have now given you 2,000 gold by default. So as soon as you get into the game, you get 2,000 gold just thrown at you. It's pretty cool. That is not enough to buy another precon deck. You get one by default. It's 6,500 for the others, or 500 shards. It is, however, enough to buy a couple of rare cards, something from here, but what I would recommend, of course, is to buy a bunch of these packs. I'm still umming and ahhing over the notion of the scroll pack versus buying a specific energy scroll. I know now that it's actually possible to do dual color decks. Can be done. You need certain items to generate certain amounts of energy to do it efficiently, but you can also pick one of two different resource types, so you can sack a scroll and sack it for either resource type. It's not something I'm experimenting with at the moment, but I definitely want to look at it. Apparently there's some really cool stuff in the growth deck that could actually work pretty well in energy. Stuff like Eye of the Eagle is apparently very useful. So I don't know. It's hard to say. And the scroll pack is definitely better value, but you won't necessarily get all of the scrolls that you want for your deck. So in this case, I'll be able to buy 30 scrolls, which would guarantee me 3 rares and 2 uncommons. Alternatively, I could throw this one together and end up with 20 energy scrolls. I'm going to go with the 20 energy scrolls for the time being. I want to be able to build a strong energy deck with a few options before I really think about everything else. And to be honest, like, you get gold pretty quickly. Like, 3 matches will give you enough to buy an entire pack of cards, which is actually pretty cool, so it's not really a big deal. Alright, let's buy some energy scrolls, see what I get, and then we'll do a little bit of deck building, and then we'll see if we can roll into a match with it. Alright, first one, Gravelock Raider. That is a pretty common card. Nice to have a decent amount of them, because you can rush them out pretty quickly. Blast Strike. This is something I haven't actually had before. Every time enchanted creature deals damage to a unit, it also deals 1 damage to every unit adjacent to that. Potentially useful. It seems like you could... it's only on creatures. If that was on structures, that would be really good, because it would actually enhance the AoE effect. I have to wonder... Yeah, I can think of some uses for that. Definitely, especially against a deck that relies on a lot of smaller creatures, for instance. Being able to deal with that, it's a pretty nice card. Another Iron Ogre. Cool. That's actually a rare. I do have one Iron Ogre. Having a second one's pretty cool. I don't generally break him out all that often because he does actually cost 7 resources. I usually only go up to 6. He's pretty expensive and he's got a long cooldown. He's very tanky, but I tend to find by that stage of the game there's often a number of different ways to deal with something that powerful. So I usually rely on my cannon automatons instead of the Iron Ogre. But it's nice to have one. Charge Coil. This is a new one. Haven't had one of these. When it attacks, it hits a random opponent for 1 damage. That's... For 3 energy, I don't really like that. It's a little bit random. It's not as random as the Hell Spitter Mortar, which can actually miss entirely, but I don't know about that one. What else? Proximity Charge. Again, a new one. When Proximity Charge is destroyed in combat, attacking unit receives 4 damage. When it comes into play, another Prox Charge is actually summoned. Interesting. So you get 2 of them. That's pretty sick, actually. Against a very melee-orientated enemy, that would be pretty cool. Can definitely see that being useful. I mean, not only is that a block of a strike that would hit something that's actually behind it, or hit the idols behind it, it's also doing damage, and you get 2 of them. So that's pretty cool. Hey, another Iron Ogre. Looks like we're doing well on the rares today. Stacking up on those ones. Heck, I might even build a deck around the notion of rushing to that. I don't know if that's possible, though. Gravelock Outcast. This is one of those cards that you can't really use in an energy deck unless you actually have a little bit of growth going on there as well. As you can see there, you have to pay 1 growth to heal it to full health. I mean, it's a useful ability, but only really in a combo deck. Okay, let's get some more. Desperation, that's a new one. Target creature gets +2 attack until the end of the turn for each enemy unit on the same row. Ha! And it is then dealt 1 damage. Only useful on relentless creatures, I think. Like, unless you really want to knock down something that's really, really heavy. Having that on a relentless creature could be good. If you're up against 3, that means you're getting +6 then you have it on a relentless, so the damage kind of spills over to all the other enemies instead of just all fizzling on one creature. Yeah, you could clear a row with that. And for 2, that's actually really good. Okay. Machine Priest. I've been looking forward to getting one of these. I do want more of them. I might have to end up trading for it. If you want to go for a very structure or artillery-heavy deck, a Machine Priest is a nice thing to have. You heal your structures, and you can move a structure one step in a random direction instead of healing. This is incredibly useful if you're artillery-heavy, because the problem with artillery is you can never move it unless you have something like this, so I definitely want to look into stuff like that. Overdrive, that's a new one too. Comes into play at the beginning of the following turns. Enchanted structures cooldown is decreased by 2. At the end of it, it's dealt 2 damage. I can see that being potentially useful, but it's definitely got a downside. What else have we got? Tribal Memorial. Aha! Excellent. This is what I was looking for. This is something to throw into your deck if you're going with a lot of Gravelocks, because it gives you that extra growth energy that I was talking about. So that's pretty cool. It's also a wall. It's not a very good wall, but it's a wall nonetheless. It actually only has 1 health, so it's not going to block too much, but cool. Desperation, another one. Cool. Excellent. Nice to have 2 of those. Law Memorial. Never seen this one. This actually does the same thing, but increases order. Okay. I don't really have a use for that kind of combo play yet, but second one as well. I might end up having a use for it at the end of this. Plating, always nice to have. Great card. Really, really good. Blocks the next attack taken. Very useful for keeping important creatures alive, especially against big heavy hitters. Bombard, always nice to have that. I've won games with that card. Another Outcast. What else have we got? Another Outcast. Alright. And Scattergunner. Pretty powerful, actually. I like Scattergunners, especially you put them behind walls. They do significant damage, and they've got pretty low cooldown for only 3. So as long as you can keep them safe, they're actually really good. And my last card, Ember Bonds. Very limited use card, in my opinion. Not something that I use all that often. If I've got the spare energy, I'll throw it out and just say, hey, why not? But for the most part, I usually sack that card. Okay, so not a bad little selection. We'll go into the deck builder and we'll have a look at what we've got. So we want to be trying to set up a 50-card deck, right? The logic behind it is the same logic behind every collectible card game, that being that there is a random element because of the shuffling of the deck. You need to minimize that random element as much as humanly possible. So the way that you do that is to reduce the number of cards in your deck and increase the number of duplicates. So it does mean that you're kind of restricted in terms of the strategy you can use, but it means that you can more reliably play that strategy. As regards to how effective that is in a game like this, where you do have to consider the notion that you are also playing a bit of a hex-based strategy game as well as a CCG, well, that's debatable. Okay, so currently 50 scrolls in this deck. I would quite like to show... These are the remaining cards that I have, it would seem. So I've got a decent number. Ooh, I actually have more of those. I love copper automatons. They're these little suicide drones. They're absolutely fantastic. Really good for taking out higher value targets. Also good for throwing at an idol. Like, you could spawn it on, particularly early game, on a row that doesn't have anything defending it. And if they don't bring something in one turn to stop you, then it will hit for 4 damage, which is almost half the health of an idol. Buff it up a little bit, it can do even more than that, so that's cool. I'm thinking of getting rid of Inferno Blast because it's very limited use. I mean, only doing 1 damage in an area seems okay, but you can do more than that with artillery pieces. It's nice to be able to target it, but it's not a spell that I usually use all that often. That's an Iron Ogre, as I can kind of show you there. I could put more Iron Ogres into my deck if I liked, but I don't know if it's necessarily a good idea. The energy starter deck is very much based on ranged attacks for the most part, and actually using things which help you for ranged attacks. So Iron Ogre not being a ranged creature is not so good. However, combo that together with something like Desperation, and Iron Ogre is going to like obliterate everything because it's relentless. I definitely want to put Desperation in. Definitely. I was having a look at the rest of it here. I'll order this by cost for the time being. So I do need to start removing some stuff. The question is what? Rigged, it's pretty good. I mean, it deals 4 damage once a enchanted structure is destroyed in melee combat. Spark, it's alright to be able to have that. It's just nice to have a bit of board control with it, just to say, alright, well, I can't directly hit you, but I can just zap you with this and get rid of you. As much as I love the Hellspitter Mortar, I think I'm going to have to remove it, because this is random as hell. It rarely actually does anything useful. It actually hits a random hex on the other side of the board, does tons of damage, but can't be relied upon. So, I don't know about that. We might have to remove the Hellspitter Mortar. I'm still not at the stage of the game where I actually know what's good and what isn't, so... What I'm interested in knowing, of course, is how many duplicates you can actually have, because the deck seems to be like the useless contraptions, for instance. I've got 3 of them. I actually have a 4th here. Can I bring that in, or is it actually just limited to 3? It seems like it's limited to 3. Okay. Alright, so I'm at a maximum number of useless contraptions. I might just throw those 2 Iron Ogres in then, if it's going to be 3s. And because I've got 2 more of them, like that means the chances of me getting out the heavy hitter in the later game is really, really good. That does, of course, mean that I have to have something which will allow me to survive to that point. Always important. Okay, so I've taken it up to 51 scrolls now. Tick bombs... Nice to have. Depends on what deck you're against. Sometimes tick bombs are actually useless because people don't play structures at all. So it's a fairly limited ability, but it is a full-on destruction for only 3. Yeah? You want to do that to a creature, you've got to pay like 6 on a different ability entirely. So I still like it. Tool Initiates, I seem to only have 1 of. Like I say, my collection is still not that great yet. I'm not too keen on Burn. It's okay for a little bit of card draw, but it is pretty costly for what it does, so I might end up taking that out of the deck. I still need to really figure out what I want to do with it. And also, in this deck, I do have a lot of Gravelocks, which I don't necessarily like. Let's see if we can take just all the Gravelocks out of the deck and see what we can do with it from there on in. I don't want to be too structure-based, but I'd like to base my army on something that isn't a bunch of Gravelocks. I don't play them all that often anyway. Okay, so is that all the Gravelocks out? Okay, so that search is up there. I think it might be all the Gravelocks out. I don't think you can... Does this order by name? Yes, it does. Okay, so there's a Gravelock there. We can get rid of that too. So that takes us down to 45 scrolls. So we've got a bit of a heavy hitter there. We've got Copper Automaton there, which we can actually have a 3rd one of. So there we go. We can stack that up. So another Copper Automaton, always nice to have in play. I've been wanting to use this Potion of Resistance, but of course, you know, I don't have all that many of them. Golem Skin, I don't like that. It's like, you've got to sacrifice all these structures to make it work. It's not necessarily ideal. Plus, again, I don't really necessarily believe in putting all of your eggs in one basket when it comes to a creature. There's too many cards which can either slow down or throw it back into your hand and so on and so forth. Definitely want to get my Machine Priest in play. It's annoying that I've only got 1 of them. I'll have to try and work on getting more of those. My Goo Catapults, I like my Goo Catapults a lot, especially if I can upgrade them with a Tool Initiate and actually do higher damage. Being able to increase cooldown is extremely useful, especially in an area of effect. Incendiaries, I wanted to throw out those Inferno Blasts, but the question is there anything worth replacing it with? Another Bombard. I could definitely take a 3rd one of those. Or can I? Do I have 2? I've only got 2. There we go. So I can put a 3rd one in there. Can't put another Catapult of Goo. It's, as I said, it seems to be limited to 3. Charge Coil I'm not really convinced by. Not yet, anyway. I've still got 46 scrolls here. Violent Dispersal, like just having this ability, being able to destroy any unit on the board, seems like it would be very handy to have. I'm a little concerned that I'm taking too many high-cost cards. And stuff like Gravelocks, for instance, are very nice because they're really, really low cost. So I need to keep an eye out for that. I was talking about my Desperation spells there. I think I have all of the plating I could need. Yeah, I've got 3 of those, so... I like Metal Heart a lot. I don't have another Metal Heart, I don't think. Metal Heart, for those of you who don't know, is a card that allows you to gain attack equal to the number of friendly structures until the end of the turn. I would like some other kinds of structures in play. Like, the Charge Coil is a structure, I think. So, you know, having that would not be terrible. I still don't rate it. I don't think it's that great, but it is actually on a fairly low cooldown, actually. So maybe it is. Maybe it is better than I thought it was. I mean, it's guaranteed damage and it counts as a structure, so I don't see why not. And it's pretty cheap to get out. Like, if I can get it out on the 3rd turn, that would be ideal. Alright. Blast Strike. Yeah. For 2, definitely. especially at the later game. And I was talking about Desperation as well. Could maybe throw one of those into play. I don't like Overdrive. I'm just concerned that I don't really have enough meat there. You can see I've got 10 structures, 15 creatures, 16 spells, and 8 enchantments. It's not that bad. The thing is, I don't really know what the right balance is yet. I haven't really learned that, but I should definitely toss a Desperation in there. In fact, screw it. I'm going to toss both of them. I know it's taking up to 51 cards, but that's a reasonable thing to do. The question is, how well would this deck do without stuff like Gravelock Raiders coming out on the first turn? If I were to order this up... Can this be ordered by cost? For some reason, this can't, which is really weird. Like, you can order this by cost, but your overall deck not so much. I've still got Useless Contraptions. I can still play those, but, like, there's only 2 cards that I can... Well, I can't play Rigged on turn 1, because obviously I'm not going to have anything to do that with. So, it does mean that I have a little bit of a weakness in really, really early game. I've still got Copper Automatons, though, so I guess I can use them to snipe if need be. And if I get to late game with that many Iron Ogres, I can stomp the crap out of stuff. So, we'll see. You know, it's a bit of a slow burner, but I'll give it a shot. Energy 3. Slow burner. Alright, let's give it a shot. Let's take it into a multiplayer match and see how it goes. Do you earn gold when you're not playing? Well, no! Of course you don't! That's an interesting way of looking at things. No, that's not a thing. Probably won't ever be. Alright. Okay, so what do we got to start with? That's actually a nice little selection early game. No high-cost cards. Although I do like having something to work towards, but no doubt I'll pull one the next few turns. Bombard won't be too useful. Getting the Charge Coil out in turn 3 is very much a possibility. That's always good. Turn 2 Gun Automaton or a Spark, depending on what it is that he breaks out. If he breaks out something that kind of steamrolls that I don't really want to let him keep, then I can Spark it. If not, I can get a Gun Automaton out and just start doing damage. Oh god, it's one of those decks. Oh, Jesus. The Bunny. This thing is annoying as hell, yeah? Every 3 turns it summons another bunny. It's pretty irritating. You can also buff them up with various things, so... Need to be careful. A Gun Automaton should be able to take that down without too much of a problem, though. Okay. So, what do I want to get rid of? I think I'm going to get rid of Bombard. I only have 1 Catapult of Goo so far, so I don't need that right now. Can't really play anything. That's kind of the weakness with this, so... Throw that out there. I just want to keep the plating there, just in case. It's a very clutch card. It's very useful. Keep the Catapult of Goo so that I can start to get some board control in certain areas. Blast Strike. Good, good, good. Nice to have. That actually will be very useful, because if he's going for a really weenie deck, Blast Strike will take that down very effectively. Okay. What to sack? I think I'll sack Spark, and I'll bring the Gun Automaton out. Or put it there and just say, hey, your bunny is on borrowed time. You're going to have to either move it or take some damage. Now, the bunny will get to replicate before my guy fires, unfortunately. This is one of those moments where it's like, you know what? I really should have brought the Gravelock Raider along. That would have helped a lot. That would have let me just take that bunny out before it starts replicating like a madman. But something like Blast Strike will enable me to deal with that. Or Catapult of Goo. I mean, if he's going to have a big deck with lots of weenies everywhere, then these big AoE artillery pieces are very handy to clear those out. What's that? What is it? Vator of the Wind comes into play. Increased growth by 1. Wow. That's pretty good. But if I kill it, then it's not very good. So, something to consider there. Ether Pump. Also ideal if he's playing a small deck. This is actually going fairly well. And get my Charge Coil out as well, so that means I'm going to start zapping this stuff. That only has 1 health, so he will actually lose that ability. He's going to have to use his energy advantage very quickly. Okay. What to get rid of? I'm thinking probably we just get rid of the plating right now. It's most likely the least useful thing that I've currently got. And I'm going to put the Charge Coil here. The reason I'm going to put it here is because it doesn't matter where it is on the board, and I want to put it somewhere where it's not so easily sniped. Ether Pump comes out in turn 4, and then things start to get really interesting if he's playing a weenie deck. Alright. Okay, so the rabbit's going to replicate, which is a little annoying. It's going to die this turn unless it moves. The Charge Coil might snipe it. The annoying thing about the Charge Coil, of course, is that it's a randomly determined thing, so it might kill a bunny instead of killing the thing I actually want to kill, which is the guy that's giving him that growth energy. It's actually annoying to call it growth energy, because energy in itself is actually a deck name. And that allows it to bring out a wildling way, way earlier. When a creature... Oh, God. Binding Roots. So I can't move this guy. Annoying, but hey. That's fine. I'll deal damage to his idol instead. Wildling. When a creature is summoned adjacent to Wildling, Wildling is dealt 1 damage, its attack is increased by 1. Okay, so he's using that. He's summoning bunnies and actually giving it power, which is a little irritating. Nothing we can't handle, though. So that's not going to be able to kill anything yet. That's ready. I've got my Ether Pump ready to rock and roll. Don't really want to get rid of that just yet. Unfortunately, Blast Strike isn't going to help here. It only applies to creatures, so that's not going to do anything there either. But... unless I want to get rid of the Catapult of Goo, which I definitely don't, considering how many creatures it's got, I'm going to have to get rid of that, because I want to get Ether Pump out. That's actually an important thing to me right now. Can't put it behind anything defensively, but I can put it here, where that Wildling isn't really in range of it. He could hit it with this guy. That's assuming he doesn't get killed off this turn. I'm hoping it strikes any one of these and not that guy, because that's not going to help at all. Alright, so I can't move him, so that's going to strike there. So let's see what we get. A little bit of RNG with the Charge Coil. That is... yes! Yes! Exactly what I wanted. It zapped the correct creature. Good. It got rid of the one that was giving him energy. Exactly what I wanted him to do. And it also got rid of the one that can actually strike my Ether Pump, which means it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Wildling is already moving up there to try and deal with it, but that will give me some time. It's going to do 1 damage to my idol. Not really a big deal. This is nice. I've got Desperation. I could actually... well, if I actually had a Relentless creature, that would be helpful, but I don't, so... alright, I'm thinking Catapult the Goo at this stage. It's got 4 health. It can take damage from the Wildling, and it can also then pick off these bunnies so that they don't keep popping up and being irritating. Okay. I'm currently now on 4. I want to get to the stage where my Cannon Automaton can come out, so I'm going to keep sacking. Right now, it's a difficult choice between Blast Strike and Desperation, but considering Desperation really does require Relentless to be super effective, and I don't have that many Relentless creatures, I'm going to sack that. So there we go. Okay, so this is in place. The Wildling will hit it, it won't kill it. Unless he moves the bunnies, they're going to get hit, and that's also an area denial weapon. So, cool. Blast Strike won't help here. I can't... at least I don't think I can apply it to that. No, you can't apply it to structures. It's only creatures. That would be a little bit ridiculous. Sweet. Another bunny taken out by the Charge Coil. Turns out this is actually quite good. Against decks like this, anyway. I think that's the problem, isn't it? You bring it along, and then suddenly someone busts out a deck where they've got big, stompy creatures, and Charge Coil doesn't do a damn thing. But it's nice that this thing is attacking every single turn. Okay, Wildling's going to work on the Ether Pump. And he's now moved out of the way. This is good, because it means I can now use this row to start striking his idols, and it also means they're moving out of the way of this one. So I'm pretty much kept out of play right now here. What's Blood Boil? When a creature is summoned adjacent to Wildling... no, we already know that. What does Blood Boil do? An enchanted unit takes damage... oh, that's a sneaky little bit of synergy, isn't it? Okay. Right, I will have to do something to defend this area, because otherwise the Wildling will take it out. Ether Pump's still up right now. There's the Iron Ogre. Okay. So I can get the Iron Ogre out on turn 7. That would be pretty good. It's relentless. It means that these little guys are just going to get destroyed by it. It does mean I'm going to lose the Ether Pump. Yeah. There's no way around that. I have nothing I can do to stop that from happening unless I sack this card and hope for a good draw. But I think, honestly, I'm willing to take the risk of losing the Ether Pump to get Iron Ogre out on turn 7. So I'm going to sack the Blast Strike. I'm going to keep hitting this. We'll see what this pokes. I'm kind of hoping it kills the bunny so that those damn things don't keep respawning. But if it does strike that, then next turn the Brave dies as well. Unless, of course, he moves it. So, okay. That's the situation we're currently in. So we take one of his idols down to 6. We'll lose the Ether Pump. I have more than one of them in my deck, so it's not too bad. And I like the Ether Pump, don't get me wrong. It does damage to everything on the board, which is really cool, but... it's unfortunate I didn't pull a useless contraption. I've actually been card-starved to the point where I haven't been able to spend any of my energy, which is very annoying. Ah, he's going that way. Oh, it doesn't matter, because that guy will kill it anyway. So he's actually going to use it on the idol instead. That's pretty smart. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That actually puts him ahead of me. Once my Iron Ogre comes out, though, he's going to be having a few problems. Those little rows filled with lots of little creatures are not going to stop an Iron Ogre. It's just going to kill all of them. Okay, he's actually moving his units into position where I can hit him. That's pretty cool. Yeah, keep doing that. Kinfolk Veteran. Oh, he can attack this turn. That sucks. Wow, okay. I've never actually come across a haste creature before, but that sucks. I've suddenly lost an awful lot there. I can get my ogre out, but it's not going to be able to defend everything. The problem I've got here is I'm starting to get swamped. And I don't really have anything to deal with that. I don't have enough artillery out. This AoE, of course, is going to kill that bunny and do damage here. This guy is annoying. He does 3 damage, so he can actually kill my coil immediately. We'll see what my coil snipes off. Okay. Concentrate fire. I could use that, but again, my priority is to get this ogre out. So I'm going to get the ogre out, and then I'm going to just start sacking for cards, because I've already got 7 resources. It's probably random, I would imagine. There's quite a bunch of random stuff in this. Okay, do I want to put the Iron Ogre behind something for defensive purposes? I would actually like to protect my charge coil. So if I put it down there, the Iron Ogre will actually kill that idol outright. Even if a bunny gets in the way, it'll kill it. But, yeah. Okay. I'm putting the Iron Ogre down at the front. I'm going to say, hey, look. I got one of these. I'm not messing around. Charge coil goes off, and it hits the Kinfolk Veteran. Not ideal. Would have preferred it to take that bunny out or that wildling, which is actually doing 4 damage right now. I definitely prefer that wasn't happening. But there's not really a lot I can do about him right now. I'm hoping I get a spark, and then I could just pick him off. Now I'm immediately regretting throwing those bombs away that I had in my deck. Oh, bollocks, he's up to 6 now. He kills that idol immediately. A lot of weenies coming down. The Iron Ogre will, of course, kill all of them, but he's going to take damage before that happens. Like, quite a lot of it. So, that's going to be problematic. Down goes one of my idols. Already takes damage from the wolf there. Second Iron Ogre. Sack for cards or play the second Iron Ogre. Well, I can't play it up there because that wildling's actually just going to flat out kill it, unfortunately. It's attacking every turn as well. It's really irritating. I really hope this just kills that outright, but again, it's RNG, so who knows. At least the catapult will kill that guy next turn. We can put a second Iron Ogre on that row and just say, sup. Ah, wrong target. This is actually the very reason why I removed the Hellspit and Mortar. And the problem is, of course, this card gets less useful the further into the game you go, because the more creatures that are on the field, the less predictable it becomes. Which is actually the opposite of the Hellspit and Mortar, which is better when there are more creatures on the field. Okay, so that's going to hit that. It can't kill it this turn, at least. And, I mean, this row is locked the hell down. He's now up to 8. Yeah, they can kill it this turn, because he can now move up there. Yeah, this could actually be a very short game. Funnily enough, I've never played against a growth deck before, and these strategies are not something that I'm really used to dealing with. And it shows. Oh, it shows. This Ogre, I don't even think is actually going to get a hit. Oh, Bombard is not what I needed right now. Not at all. And that guy doesn't hit there. Okay, so let's sack it for cards. Let's see what we get. Concentrate Fire. It's not going to help. Metal Heart, again, not going to help. Yeah, I'm just getting the wrong cards here. But yeah, this is dead this turn. There's no way for me to stop that now. Unless, of course, that snipes that guy, which, again, is luck, isn't it? This Ogre dies this turn unless I move him. Concentrate Fire, I don't think is going to work on this. Yeah, it doesn't count as a ranged, so Concentrate Fire is totally useless to me right now. Even moving this back means that these guys could just move up there. So, I think this guy is dead regardless. Admittedly, it may very well let this guy attack, so... This is the problem. I can't reduce the cooldowns of those guys. So, that's... I mean, there's not much I can really do there, honestly. They're probably going to move up and pick him off. I don't see why they wouldn't. Yeah, there's no getting out of this. I can't use either of these cards, so repositioning isn't going to help me. Yeah, I'm probably dead here. This is not going all that well. Charge Coil hits the wrong thing, doesn't hit the Wildling, and in fact the Wildling actually has more health now because there's too many enchantments. This is where I really needed one of those abilities just to destroy target creature. You can see the 3 enchantments on it. It's pretty ridiculous. This is not going well. Yeah, I've probably lost this game. I don't see... Unless I get super lucky, I don't see a way Because this dies this turn. That dies this turn. So that leaves him with very few creatures. Oh, more energy. Great. Just what we needed to give him. That can die. I'm actually surprised he's not taking that out immediately. But I think he just wants to reduce my number of creatures quickly. The Goo Catapult hasn't done much all game, and I haven't got a Machine Priest to move it, so... This guy is dead. I don't have plating, because, hey... It's not that I don't have the cards to deal with this, it's just that I'm not getting them. It's really as simple as that. And this guy can be a threat if he starts really cutting through large ranks of them, but I don't have a cooldown reduction for him, so... That doesn't really make that much difference. And these bunnies are continuing to spawn, like the annoying little bastards that they are. Another Iron Ogre. Not ideal. Not what I was really looking for. Metal Heart isn't going to help me here. I'm going to sack it for scrolls. End of Reason. No. Goo Catapult. Double no. Not what I needed. It's not going to help. Son of a bitch. Well, I could play another Iron Ogre if I like, which would die immediately if I put it in any row where the Wildling can get to it. I'd have to put it in the top row or the bottom row to be a threat. I can play a Goo Catapult, I could play End of Reason, which is pointless. Sacrifice all units you control, the non-zero cooldown. Each unit sacrificed in that way deals a certain amount of damage to that in a row. It's not going to help here. Ah, fuck. Crying out loud. I'm thinking I just have to play another Iron Ogre and hope for the best. This is my last Iron Ogre. Put him up in the top. As far away from the Wildling as I can get it. And that's kind of just going to have to be that. Can't play anything else. Charge goes off. Again, hits the target I didn't want it to hit, but... You know, I mean, it's been doing damage the entire game, which is great, but now I definitely regret removing the Hellspit Mortar, because that, as much as RNG it would be, that would definitely be useful. And these big hitters, they just take so long to wind up, they're too easy to kill at this stage, so it's actually, to me, I don't even know if I should be playing them anymore. Don't think I should be using them. Moves that up there, so that's already going to do damage to him. I haven't had my Cannon Automaton out the entire game, which is pretty annoying. He almost killed that. Oh, it's doing 12 damage, what the hell? Yeah, I'm toast. I am utterly toast. This is definitely in GG. Yep, I need to go back to the drawing board. That was awful in every possible respect. He's just going to kill me next turn now unless he just ignores me. Nothing I can really do to stop it. That deck is insane. I really need... If I'm playing against a growth deck, I definitely need that area denial ability. Just the ability to kill weenie creatures off. I don't have it. I flat out didn't have it. Getting rid of that bomb ability that hit all hexes surrounding it. That was a bad idea. Didn't pull a single destroyer. Only pulled like one cannon of goo at the right time, so that really didn't help all that much. And then the big Iron Ogres that you can break out against this deck it just doesn't help. So there you go. Complete and total defeat. Absolutely dreadful. Turns out that deck does not work well against growth at all. We live and learn. My name's been TotalBiscuit. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.